Something rather curious happened this Easter, my friends. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. Obviously, it's not my standard video. I usually talk about more what's going on with business and whatever the viral story of the day is. But in this case, we have something rather interesting. We had NASA discover something about the day he was crucified. We have also articles coming out like usual against Easter. We got that. We also have a miracle that happened this Easter in Jerusalem, and I'm talking about a literal miracle. And then we also have some rather curious things coming out from Mel Gibson with regards to the movie he's making. We're going to get into all this and more in this video. We'll start with this here. Of course, they have articles every year coming out. This is the New Yorker. We're still not done with Jesus. Apparently, lamenting the fact that people actually celebrate these holidays. Can't we just get past this? You know what I mean? That's kind of what they're saying, of course. And they can't seem to ever stop doing this every single Christmas and Easter. It's like a never-ending theme with these guys. Maybe it's because they don't like him. Maybe we don't like what you're talking about. So this is why you have dwindling followers to your publications. Is because you won't stop talking about this stuff. So what's interesting is we have this recent discovery from NASA linking the day he was crucified, revealing the exact day based on what the text states. And I thought this was kind of weird. Look how many shares it's had. Yeah, that number looks a little familiar. I think I've seen that one before in Revelation. So, of course, here it's talking about how it states that the sun turning into darkness, the moon into blood, which some scholars believe referenced events that followed his death. NASA models, which trace the positions of the Earth, moon, and sun through history, show a lunar eclipse occurred on Friday, April 3rd, 33 AD. So you got 333 there. That's a much better number. Year traditionally linked to Jesus' death. And so this is kind of interesting. This recently came out, I think, a couple days ago. Although I think it's something that they mentioned back in the 1990s. But it went viral recently on TikTok. Text mentions the moon turned to blood, potentially referring to a lunar eclipse during which the moon takes a reddish hue. It would be a blood moon. So actually that makes perfect sense because a lot of things like that do occur during significant events in history. And I've covered that over my other channel. You'd be kind of surprised. Like we had 4 blood moons back in 2014, 2015 in a row, which is exceptionally rare. And then we had the Revelation 12, of course, sign in September of 2017, which is extremely rare. That was the only time it was ever seen was at the birth of the King of Kings 2,000 years before that. And of course, it's actually detailed in the text of Revelation 12, something a lot of people are not aware of. But what's interesting about this is we're seeing a number of miracles happening. We had one in Jerusalem. I've never even heard of this. I'm guessing a lot of you have never heard of this either. Apparently, this happens every year, and almost no one in the West knows about this at all. It's kind of weird that no one knows about this, and I just heard about it today. Check this out. It's kind of interesting. Every Easter this happens where they actually wait patiently at the sepulcher for this to show up, for the fire to show up. And here's what it looks like when they actually find it. Check this out. They're able to light it from the fire. So from what I understand, what they do is they wait for the fire to actually ignite inside the sepulcher. And then from there, it's a miraculous lighting of it. And then when it happens, then they spread the light to each other with the candles. And sometimes it actually there's candles outside that just miraculously light. Not even just the one inside the sepulcher, but also just ones even hanging up that no one can even reach will light sometimes. And there's also lights that show up sometimes where it will show a blue light, and they're saying it's his presence showing up. So it's kind of interesting. I never even heard of this. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this. I thought it was rather curious. And we're going to get into actually more than just this. We're going to get into also what's going on in England in this video, because they're apparently trying to cancel Easter, of course. And they seem to be doing this all the time. I remember since about 2000, actually I remember even in the 90s, I think they were trying to cancel it. They're trying to cancel it like almost my entire life, you know what I mean? But of course they failed. Obviously, I wonder who's inspiring them to do that. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But we're going to get into actually a ton of other stuff as we get into this video. And we're going to get into what's going on in Ireland and England, and also some other things as well with regards to Mel Gibson and his new movie. But check this out. This is kind of interesting. The miracle of the Holy Fire.
Every year in Jerusalem, on the eve of Orthodox Easter Sunday, Jesus Christ shows up inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre during the ceremony of Holy Fire. Christ is present, but only the blue incandescent light of his eternal glory is visible.
So you saw the blue light there kind of flashing. That was from back in the 1990s. They had that one. In some rare occasions, they'll have also these candles outside that are hanging light miraculously as well. And also some of the people holding them, we'll see that occur as well. But before the whole thing occurs, the Greek Orthodox Patriarch goes and prays at the shrine outside of the sepulcher that was built around the cave. Kneeling beside the bed, he prays an ancient prayer that has been passed down when the holy light turns to fire on the lamp. So basically, he prays a certain ancient prayer that he's been given. It's been passed down through the centuries. And that's what causes this to occur. And it's kind of amazing. So obviously, we've seen over the last few years, things have been a little bit strange, but it's gotten better this year. Particularly, and I covered this over on my other channel. I covered it on this channel as well, how certain things had happened in space, in the stars, that sort of showed that we were entering into a new golden, of course, age. And so we're seeing things change for the better. And it's kind of interesting. This guy here talks about how things were, I think this was back in 2024. Some people obviously didn't have a good year in 2024. He mentions about that, sort of what we've been seeing, a lot of people having issues financially and things of that nature, or just whatever else going wrong in their life. And actually, this miracle here, it doesn't burn.
And if you're...
So it's not burning them, which is kind of interesting. So this is supposed to be another one of the miraculous signs from this fire, is that it won't actually burn you. And so I actually saw people holding under their beard for a long period of time, which I'm pretty sure it would have burned you if you hold it for like about 10 seconds and it doesn't do anything. So I saw a couple videos that were even longer than that. And I'm like, what is going on here? This is kind of crazy. Actually, this is the guy with the message. I was thinking wrong. That was a different clip. That was the one showing sort of how they don't burn themselves when they use this light.
This year is very sad, but I wish with the light of the holy fire from Jerusalem will give peace all around the world. Thank you and happy Easter. Jesus is risen.
And what's interesting about what he's saying is they apparently take the fire to all across the world. So they'll actually put it in these lamps and then take it to churches back home in various countries. So I thought that was rather intriguing as well. I didn't even know about that. Maybe they let it run all year or set a flame all year. It kind of reminds me of the Olympics in a sense, how they have a flame and they pass it and things of that nature. I'm curious what that flame is, though. I don't know. But Adrian, I think you get kind of the idea. So that's what was interesting about that miracle. I had never heard of that until today. We also have Mel Gibson come out and talk about his new movie. This is kind of intriguing what he said. I didn't even know he talked about this, but it makes sense that he would have on Joe Rogan. Check this out.
And by the time you film it, it'll be even better.
Yeah.
When are you going to start filming?
I'm hoping next year sometime.
That's this year.
There's a lot required because it is, I'll just tell you this, it's an acid trip when we wrote it. It is like, I've never read anything like it. And
that's going to be interesting. The movie's supposed to be rather crazy, I guess, or surreal or something. I don't know what it's going to be exactly. I'm kind of curious what he means by that, an acid trip. I don't know. But I saw this, I guess you would say, fake trailer of the movie that looked really interesting and kind of made me think of what he was saying. Yeah, that looks like an acid trip. That looks kind of like an acid trip there. I don't know, man. Yeah, so of course, even Jim Caviezel was recently interviewed a few days ago. Yeah, it was like 4 days ago. Talking a little about this new movie that's coming up as well. Check this out.
I love it. Are you excited or worried about being on set with Maya Morgenstern and getting back into that particular toga again? You went through hell on the first movie, Jim.
Yeah. It was okay, though, because it was part of the purpose of why I was born. I take it very seriously. A friend of mine made this for me in Medjugorje. On one side, it's JC. On the other side, it's 33. And I have
oh my goodness,
5 diamonds on it.
Obviously, and then we just saw the astronomical lunar eclipse happened on what was it, April 3rd of 33 AD. So that's kind of interesting, of course. I don't know, man. That's kind of cool. So, of course, he's going to be doing that movie, and it sounds like they're starting this year. So it might be already in the makes right now. Maybe that's why he's being interviewed. Maybe they're already working on this new movie as we speak. And, of course, I did a video recently that went viral on my third channel, God Rules 2, about Val Kilmer and the fact that he was seemingly, delisted or whatever you want to call it from Hollywood back in the early 2000s. And that was around the same time Mel Gibson was also, in a sense, and it was not just these two, it was actually a number of people. I did a video about this, and of course, that was also when Mel Gibson did an interview with a certain famous director in 1999 about sort of the dark, of course, side of Hollywood. And anyway, let's just play this a little bit. You'll see what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I'm kind of blacklisted. I haven't gotten a studio job in 15 years.
So you feel in a way that you are banned from the...
No, not in a way.
You are?
Yeah, I think.
Shut the video camera off.
I will keep it up.
So, of course, he even said that he thought he was blacklisted. And that was, again, I remember the last sort of famous movie he made. There was actually a couple other. The Saint was around the time of the end of it. That was actually one of my favorite movies. And after that, he was in top movies. He was in Top Gun. He was in Tombstone, a lot of movies. Batman Returns as Batman. All in that era. And after that, no longer in any movies. That was also when Mel Gibson was no longer in any movies that he didn't create, right? Did you also had others? Wesley Snipes. I mean, you had Brandon Fraser. You had actually a ton of people that just all of a sudden out of nowhere were no longer in movies. And I talked about the fact that there was this weird coincidence that Tom Cruise, who was also in Top Gun with Val Kilmer, had a strange movie come out in 1999. And the guy behind the movie, the director, mysteriously died right before the movie was ended. Kubrick, right? Talking about Eyes Wide, shot that movie, which of course is about the elites in Hollywood, of course, going to strange, parties and stuff like that. And I remember seeing an interview of Val Kilmer around a little bit after that time. I think it was like 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. He's like in Italy or something. And someone asked him why was he not in any movies? And he was talking about spirituality, his faith and stuff like that. And I was like, I thought it was kind of strange he was talking about that when he was asked that question. I was thinking, well, maybe it has something to do with the fact that he didn't want to go to these parties, right? I don't know. So, of course, maybe there is something to that, right? Maybe there is something to that.
Mel, once the king of box office, suddenly can't get a gig unless he finances the movie himself. Wesley gets thrown in prison over taxes his accountant supposedly fumbled. Brendan vanishes after calling out abuse. Are we seeing a pattern here? Because the...
Yeah, I think you are. You're seeing a pattern. And, of course, it's kind of interesting. We also had some other interesting videos come out of recent that I'm going to get into over my other channel. Regarding the Shroud of Turin, which is actually kind of amazing. Actually, there's something you can do where you can actually see the actual picture of his face with your phone on the video. You'll be able to do it on my other video, but we'll get into that on the other channel. At any rate, you also have what's going on in England right now, where they're trying to cancel Easter. I thought this was kind of interesting.
One. But this school in Hampshire, England, Norwood Primary, which is for ages 5 to 11 years old, what did they decide to do? They decided to ban Easter. Yes, you heard correctly. The Easter parade, gone.
You see that guy there, the guy talking? He almost got arrested just the other day for preaching on the streets in England.
If you kick it now, will you still be okay?
Probably not, no. Would you like to do that, though?
If you let me.
Well, I'm not going to let you do it, am I? I can tell right now that you're scared. I can see it in your eyes right now. You are scared. Listen.
You creepy white.
Someone has to be punished, and it's the Son of God who needs to be punished. My friends, is this... Seriously, I thought Islam's supposed to be a religion of peace.
Well, no, I'm just turning my phone on. All right, I'm just having recording.
Yeah, no, we're recording as well.
It's getting quite common in England that if you even try to talk about things like this on the street, then you'll be met with these guys. Even if you're not causing any disturbance, you're just simply talking to people. But if you do anything else, there's a lot of other things you can do, particularly if you're of a different religion, and get away with it. And it could be things that are very, very bad. But I've talked about that on other videos in the past. You have, of course, Conor McGregor, former UFC fighter, currently trying to run for president in Ireland, which, of course, they also have the same problem there. And he wants to essentially bring Ireland back to being actually Ireland again, not a place to where infinite amount of people come in, right? At any rate, so that's my video. I'm kind of wondering what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and happy Easter.